With this, we are going to the next presenter. She is Arifa Chowdhury Elma. She is an apprentice lawyer working with Imdadul Haq Khan, an associate law firm. She is an LLM and LLB from Eastern University, Dhaka. She is also a good mooter. She has participated in Philip Jessup moot court competition, and she did well. So, with this brief introduction, may I call upon Arifa Chowdhury Elma to present her paper, please.
Assalamu alaikum, and I'm presenting on the topic that regarding examination of the extent of censorship in social media and the protection of freedom of expression as per Bangladeshi perspective. To begin with, my presentation is divided under a few subtitles. That is, firstly, I will define about what is freedom of expression and censorship, which are the key terms in this presentation. Next, the extent of freedom of expression offered and censorship offered in Bangladesh, and with comparison of these two terms with Bangladesh and international law, offering a balance between the two, and finally a few recommendations. Firstly, starting with the definition of freedom of expression, that is, which was defined by Mahmoudul Islam in his book Constitutional Law of Bangladesh, that freedom of expression is basically a fundamental right in the first place, which is protected under our constitution, our Bangladeshi constitution, and this freedom of expression also consists of rights which expresses which can be expressed through writing, printing, or any other mode, and most importantly, which must be addressed to eye and ear of other persons. That is, other persons should hear and see that thing. In that place, this will be expression. And the other term, censorship, is simply defined as suppression by any authority, suppression of speech, or any form of expression which is considered to be harmful or illegal or sensitive. Let us see what is the freedom of expression in under Bangladeshi perspective. Article 39 of the Bangladeshi Constitution guarantees freedom of thought, conscience, and expression as well. But Article 39 also provides a few restrictions on this freedom of expression regarding state security, public order, court contempt, defamation, and such other cases. But even though under Article 39, freedom of expression is protected in Bangladesh, however, the Bangladeshi government have faced criticism in several instances, which I will be explaining further, where this can be showed that the constitution was grossly violated. That is, the extent of censorship was went further, violating the constitution. And those extent of censorships are that those are the examples in respect of Bangladesh. Firstly, Bangladesh government slowed internet speed. The internet speed was made in 2G, specifically during a protest in 2018, which was named as road safety protest, where the internet speed was made in 2G to prevent online and live sharing. And this is a gross violation of Article 39(2)(b) of the Constitution of Bangladesh, which provides freedom of press. And also a lot of in the same issue, a lot of journalists were arrested, and websites and news outlets these were blocked as they spoke against government. And a cartoonist was also arrested for criticizing government, and he was arrested during the COVID-19, where he criticized government regarding the failure of government to control the COVID-19 situation. And furthermore, a 15-year-old teenager was also sent in juvenile detention for criticizing government in social media. And lastly, and recently, Cybersecurity Act 2022 was enacted, which contains a lot of faulty sections, which actually violates right to freedom of expression and thought, and which went exactly opposite of journalists, that is, which is against independent journalism. So, what are the findings? That is that freedom of expression, even though it is a fundamental right guaranteed under Article 39 of our Constitution, still freedom of expression is not totally ensured, as the extent of censorship went further. Which to such extent that this censorship suppresses the freedom of expression, which is our fundamental right. Now, as we can see, let us see a comparison with international law. Firstly, freedom of expression and opinion, that is freedom of expression, is guaranteed under UDHR, ICCPR, Article 19 and 17 respectively, and Article 5D7 of International Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. And those similar international treaties also restricts, not only guarantees the freedom of expression, but also restricts this right in article, which can be seen in Article 29.2 of UDHR and 19.3 of ICCPR. And in another case, interestingly, in Gundas versus Turkey case, here a speech was delivered as religious commentary, and it was observed by the European Court of Human Rights, that is ECTHR, that that speech, which was the issue of the case, was protected, as it was a highly debated topic of general public interest. So, which means we can derive that under this case, that the restriction on freedom of expression was unlawful, actually, which was observed in this case. After seeing the comparison, we can obviously derive that we actually need a balance in Bangladesh, that government should and must impose censorship, impose reasonable restrictions, but the restrictions must be reasonable, so that the right to freedom of expression is not hampered, and the restriction can be given in the interest of the state security or national security, public order, or harming or not harming other right or reputation of others, which was the subject matter of international treaties, those articles which I mentioned earlier. And as I've already said, the restrictions must be lawful and must be necessary, must be reasonable. And lastly, I'd like to recommend that, first of all, and most importantly, Cybersecurity Act is actually termed as a draconian law, and this needs to be amended, as there are a lot of faulty sections, and which actually prevents the right to freedom of expression to freely enjoy this right. But restrictions should also be given, that is, to suppress illegal contents and which are sensitive contents, to suppress those, to prevent those to spread, restrictions must be given. And in that case, models of EU can be followed, or those international treaties which I have mentioned earlier, those can be followed to make a proper balance between the censorship in social media and to give protection to freedom of expression. And most obviously, Bangladeshi government should allow open dialogue, and of course be tolerant of criticism, not just arrest those people who criticizes the government, or so that the freedom of expression is not suppressed. And with this recommendation, I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much. Session is open for comments, question, please. This is very,
Can you hear me?
this is very young researcher. So please.
Yes.
Be,
Can you hear me?
yes, sir. Yes, we can hear you.
First of congratulations, being so young, and she is very brave. She is
Yes.
very brave. Congratulations for that. But what do you think? There is a paradoxical situation that Constitution will say something, and then later on we will be creating laws contrary to the words and spirit of those constitutional principles and norms. Is it a paradoxical issue or it is a deliberate issue? Because a regime, pattern of regime or character of regime, they really need quote and unquote draconian laws. Otherwise, they cannot run the country. And how much blame we should take being unruly or disobedient or not too civilized people. Do you think we, general public, also has a burden to share with the government with extraordinarily harsh and subjugating policies? If the question is very hard for you, just leave it. Don't try to answer. And if question is easy or hard, later on you think about it. Why this kind of contradiction, this kind of paradoxical things are going on last 53 years while we are completely independent country, sovereign country. Our national law is creating so much of contradiction. Thank you so much. You are a very brave young lady. I wish you good luck.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your question. I may take an attempt to try to answer your question. That is, yes, first of all, I would like to admit that, yes, we, the people of Bangladesh, are also responsible for for getting those draconian laws, as we actually love to disrespect our own laws. So in that situation, this is actually a paradox. But as I have talked about Article 39 of our Constitution, this, in one hand, it offered the freedom of expression, thought, and conscience, and in the other hand, it also gave reasonable restrictions for regarding a few situations, that is state security, public order, and other, and so on.
No, madam, please. Madam, please. That itself is not a big issue. That itself, it is in many constitutions, in many law, you can find it, because you cannot sacrifice your security issues, you cannot sacrifice your public policies, you cannot sacrifice many other things. That itself is you cannot, or we cannot try to have unconditional freedom. There must be some conditions. But that is not the main issue we are talking about. We are talking about why subsequently we are making so many bad laws, black laws, draconian laws. That is the main issue we have to deal. I understand what you are saying. That you can deal easily. That you can later on will be able to deal easily. But why we cannot even nowadays differentiate between good laws from bad laws, black laws from white laws, draconian laws, very strict laws, illegal, constitutional illegality, legality, legitimacy. These questions are at stake now. I am again not discouraging you or criticizing you. Again, I am saying, I am saluting you for your courage. But please go ahead.
I think Elma can take some food of thought for
Inshallah. Inshallah,
further
she'll do.
development, and this may not be right from for her to speak further.
Okay,
Thank you so
no
much. Yeah,
problem. No
thank
problem.
you.
She can send me in email and even show me the structure of her research work. There is some structural problem in your research work. You need to make it more methodological and structured than that way you do it. And make some research question available for you. By creating, by your brainstorming, have some research question and then try to address those research questions. Then it will be an excellent job. You can go ahead of our PhD with this.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
that can be possible. Yeah, thank you, both Elma and Professor Maimun Hassan Sarkhan.